Hey family, I hope everyone is staying warm out there. It's been brutally cold where I live in the Midwest. I hope the Lord is blessing you in your daily walk with Him. He will sustain you. I put my faith and my hope in Jesus each and every day, but that doesn't mean that I don't face trials and tribulations of my own. I mean, it's been a rough road, and I've been going through it lately. Um, we all just need to be there for others during these times. Like the old saying goes, unless you have walked a day in anyone else's shoes, we really don't know what they're going through. After each of my videos, I feel that we're led by the Lord to create. I weep. I weep and cry out to the Lord, and I ask the Lord, why did you lead me down that path? I normally don't get a response. Then it happens again and get led down another path with the Lord. And I've been really thinking about why the Lord would, send so many watchmen soldiers to the front lines to just fall flat on their faces, with information the Lord is revealing to them. And I believe He's revealing all this information to all these watchmen. And I believe He just wants us to be prepared. He could come at any moment, and we must always be prepared and expect Him at all times. And He doesn't want us to just get complacent, and reveal it to us essentially when it could be 4 months away. And, we don't know exactly when it may be, but we're looking, we're watching, we're waiting, we're expecting. And He instructs us to watch and to always be on the lookout for His return. So that's what He's called me to do. And I do believe that all of us out there that look for specific high watch days are getting led by the Lord. This is what He wants us to be doing. Sometimes it is discouraging, and when it doesn't work out, absolutely, it's discouraging for me too. Um, He calls us to persevere, and to go through long suffering and to not give up. Could the Lord all of a sudden give one of us the actual day of the rapture? Absolutely. Absolutely, He could. Maybe He will. You know, um, in this video, I'm going to share with you some experiences that have happened to me just in 2025 alone in the month of January and what the Lord has shown me. Then I'll jump into some of my previous testimonies from 2024 that the Lord revealed to me. And I truly believe that He has unlocked some of these messages that He's been sharing with me, these supernatural encounters, these vivid dreams. And they're all pointing to, 2-9, which is 11-11, and it would also equal 9/11. And it's funny, this number is not what you think it is. Is it a hotline that Americans and certain other countries use for an emergency? Exactly right. Yes, it is. Have you ever thought about why that is? Why did they choose 911? Or why is Halloween on 10/31? Well, I'll be reviewing these questions in my upcoming videos. I'm going to have several videos with this date and timeline, this high watch timeline. I might have about 10 videos on it. So, we always have to be looking. And like, for example, if you turn the news on and, you believe everything that they tell you without doing any research of your own, how are you going to know anything? Can't take everyone's word for everything. We live in a world that's filled with lies and deception. We live in a fallen world, and it's Satan's kingdom. He is the prince and the power of the air, and he takes everything that God has given to us and turns it against us for his evil plan. The elites and the rulers of this world have hidden knowledge that we don't have. Okay? Satan was in the garden with Adam and Eve, and he's been here ever since. He knows exactly when Christ was crucified and exactly when Christ was resurrected. He knows the exact day that Christ will return, and so do the rulers of this world. I truly believe that. And I'll be sharing my testimonies on 2 separate videos here because there's a lot to unpack. I want to share with you first what's happened to me on the course of this past month alone in 2025. I don't know if you're going to believe it, but I'm going to share it with you. The Lord also revealed my testimonies to me on January 11th. January 11th, which was Tevet 11th, hence also 11:11. And I felt in the spirit that the Lord was telling me not to share anything till the 22nd, which was 11 days away from the 11th. So that was crazy. And that'd be today. And hopefully I get this video out tonight. And I wanted to share everything the next day. I was like, I got to get this information out, Lord. I got to tell everybody. And, I heard the Lord tell me, no, 22, the 22nd. So I was like, okay. And then all these things just kept happening to me, which is what I'll be sharing with you today. And I truly believe that these are all warnings from God. These are not attacks from the enemy. And this is why he told me to wait until the 22nd. So without further ado, let's jump into the study and everything that's taken place with me in 2025 and what Yeshua has revealed to me. These are warnings from the Lord, from Yeshua, Jesus the Christ. Let's jump into it. Yeah, my personal vehicle. Here we go. 2025 warnings from Yeshua. My personal vehicle, I bought this car last year, and I figured maybe there'll be some stuff wrong with it. And I was like, okay, tires was the first thing. I was like, tires, okay, it's 8 years old. I'm going to need new tires eventually. That makes sense. Let's get some new tires. And then the battery. It's like, I need a battery. Okay, let's put a battery in it. The door panel. The door panel where you punch in the number on the outside of the car, that little panel where you open the car door. Well, that panel was peeling off and that needed replaced. So I had to replace that. And then I also had my brakes, and I had to replace my brakes. This is all like late December, early January. And then my car horn stopped working completely on December 11th, which is exactly 61 days to February 9th. Keep that number in mind. I'll be going over 61 days eventually in my upcoming videos. So this is all taken place within the past month. And my semi-tractor, I had warnings from the Lord about my semi-tractor. So what had happened was on 1.7, my APU, my auxiliary power unit, it was destroyed by a piece of wood. There was a piece of wood in the middle of the road. It took up the entire 8-foot wide lane. I couldn't move. I couldn't get over to the left. And they always say drive through it. So you got to drive through it. And then it ripped apart my APU. My APU still worked, but the entire cage was ripped off. And I'll show that to you. On 114, my windshield was shattered by ice from an oncoming trailer driving towards me. And I'll show that to you. And then on 120, my air brakes had another leak. Remember I had an air leak on 9/3 at 1 p.m.? Well, both my brake chambers caught fire, and my tractor had to be towed to a local dealer for repair. So I'll show that video to you as well. So this is my APU on the right-hand side, okay? As you can see, it's fully exposed. The door and the bottom part of the cage is fully ripped off. It's gone. It should look like the picture on the left, and it does not whatsoever. So this was on 1.7 that this happened to me. And then on 113, I was praying to the Lord on my morning drive, and I was like, Lord, are you want me to get this replaced? I mean, it still works. Do you want me to get this whole thing, redone and get a whole new cage around it? And if I should get it fixed or not? And then I kid you not even a minute later, I saw a shell of an APU on the side of the highway. This was a sign from the Lord to get it fixed. I mean, this is crazy, man. You can't make this up. It was insane. I prayed about it. A minute later, it's right beside me, a shell of an APU on the side of the highway. That was crazy. Then on 114, my windshield, it got shattered by ice from an oncoming tractor trailer. It was shedding ice off of the top of its trailer, and I was out of state, and I had to drive back to my home base the next day on 115. So this is my shattered windshield. It was shattered by ice from an oncoming tractor trailer. And so then obviously I had to write up a report, tell my boss what happened, and then I had to head back to my home base the next day. And as I'm heading back to my home base, I'm over in St. Louis, and I'm turning on this highway to get on I-70, and this highway is 11.5. It's 115. Okay. And this homeless man was in the middle of the lane that I was needed to get in to turn. Okay. And where I was about to turn, and then he was in the lane, but then he looked up at the road sign, which was 11.5, 115, and looked back at me right dead in my eyes. And I was like, this is weird. Is this from you, Lord? I had to get confirmation from this later. And he was like, yeah, I'm telling you, the 11th month and the 5th month, 11.5. I was like, okay, Lord. I've heard this before. 10th month, 4th month, but here we are. So this is the warning I was getting. And so that was crazy. Another crazy experience. An angel turned into a homeless man. That's what I believe, at least. So on 114, my windshield. So after this happened, I had to get a rental truck. On this loaner truck, it was a brand new 2025 Freightliner with under 1,000 miles. This truck had so many issues, it was ridiculous. Basically, the engine light was on the whole time. The fuel gauge did not work. It stayed below a half a tank. And the heat did not work in my sleeper. So I had to wake up every couple hours and run the engine to get any heat in the truck. And the engine would shut off after 40 minutes. So you have to go back and turn the key back so that way your battery doesn't go dead. And then the electrical outlets did not work. So my laptop died and I couldn't work on any of this material that the Lord was sharing with me. Yeah, there's a typo. If you see typos, I'm trying to get this message out. It is what it is. But yeah, the electrical outlets didn't work. So my laptop died. Couldn't get anything accomplished. So I was like, okay, Lord, these are obviously warnings from you. Warning that you're coming soon. Warning to me to tell everyone what's happened in my life and just share the message that, hey, Jesus is still coming very, very soon, sooner than we could ever imagine. And he's given me so many warnings just in this past month alone. And then on 117, I got my tractor back. On 120, it was my first day back on the road, and I had an air leak in both of my brake chambers. They caught fire. So I had an air leak, and the sensor goes off, and the PSI goes down to like under 100. When it's under 100, your sensor goes off and starts beeping at you. So then I was like, okay, let me pull over here to a safe place. And I had nowhere to pull over. And then I was like, okay, I see fire and I smell it. I was like, I have to pull over. So I pulled over and I took a video of this, and I'm going to share the video with you. But I pulled over. I was like, it was on fire. And my tractor had to be towed to a local dealer. And remember, 9/3 at 1 p.m., I had an air leak, and I had to replace one of my brake chambers. Well, I'm going to have to replace both of my brake chambers now. I'm in a loaner vehicle right now as well, a different loaner vehicle, a different truck right now. So this is crazy. So I'll get to that testimony about 9/3 later on. But let's get to that video. I'm going to play this for you now and come right back. This is happening right now. I don't know. Massive fire. That was pretty crazy, right? Man, I didn't know what to do. I was like, okay, I need that fire extinguisher. Let's get the fire extinguisher out. I had to put it all out. I used the entire fire extinguisher on it. So I have to get a new extinguisher in my truck once I get it back. So these are all warnings from the Lord. He's obviously telling me to tell the people, to warn the people that Jesus is coming soon, guys, with all these things that are going on. So at 1:20, my brake chambers caught fire, and it was at exactly 3:46 p.m. I always jot down the times because the Lord speaks to me through numbers, especially timing. So 3:46, I jotted that down. It's like, okay, this happened at exactly 3:46. 3:46 in Strong's. Let's go to the Greek and Hebrew in Strong's. 3:46 in the Greek. The definition is to sum up, to bring together, to unite. I sum up, summarize, I gather up in one. The great gathering of the saints. Hallelujah. Amen. And then in Hebrew, it says where. That's the definition. So basically, all the people that don't go in the rapture are going to be like, well, where did they go? Where's everybody at? That's interesting. Here's a good one, too. So, Love's Truck Stop, another one where God speaks through someone. And this was crazy. I was like, what is going on here? So, I woke up at Love's. I idled my truck over to the diesel island behind another tractor who was pulled up to the line. And the gentleman in front of me, he was getting back into his truck from being inside grabbing a coffee. And he got back into his truck, and I was just taking a break, waiting for my 10 minutes to be up. You know, we have a 15-minute pre-trip and post-trip on every trip that you do. So I was waiting for that to be up. Then he got out of his truck and walked towards my tractor at the diesel island, like walking towards me. I was like, okay. And he came over to see how many gallons that he had purchased. And then he spoke to me. So I rolled my window down, and I'm like, okay, what's about to happen here? Is this from the Lord? Is it not? What's going on? So he's like, he spoke to me, and I had to double check my gallons that I purchased. He goes, I thought I purchased 98 gallons versus 110. And then he walked away. And I was like, what is happening? 98 gallons. It clearly says 110. I didn't think anything of it. I looked at the amount of gallons that he had purchased and the amount of money it was at that time. And I was like, are you serious? It was 43104 and 110835. And my timeline spreadsheet is updated to the max with so much right now on this specific date. So I knew exactly that this was on my timeline. So let's check it out. So then I was like, okay, yeah, this is an experience from the Lord. This guy clearly driving a truck. The Lord maybe told him to go back, and check. And then he spoke that to me. That was crazy. So 98 gallons. Okay, I thought about this. I was like, February 9th, 8 means new beginnings. Could that be it? I hope so. We're going to find out. Amount purchased, okay, was 43104. Gallons purchased was 110,835. So that would translate to 444. 3 plus 1 is 4. And then 3 plus 5 is 8. So 11,088. Well, what does that match up with? That, my friends, matches up with the last blood moon, November 8th in 2022. 777 days plus 48 days is 444. If you break down the 8, you got 2 4s. Okay. There's the 444. 825 days. And I went to like the minutes and the seconds of each of these days. Not that Jesus is going to come back at the exact minute or exact second. I just thought the numbers were very interesting. I was like, why is this 1188? And so I added it to my timeline. All these seconds and minutes. It was, not that it means much, but the numbers were interesting to me. So I added that, and I looked at that, and I was like, this matches the last blood moon. The gallons and the amount, they match exactly with the last blood moon going to February 9th. All this goes to February 9th. That's where it lands on. So this is the timeline for February 9th. Hallelujah, guys. That was interesting. So I just want to leave you with some encouragement here. I'm going to keep this video short because I have so much more to share on my next video. It'll probably be a little bit longer. but I couldn't combine these videos because it was just going to be way too long. So praise to God for our living hope, a heavenly inheritance. So 1 Peter 1, 6 through 7 says, "In all this you greatly rejoice, though now for a little while you may have had to suffer grief in all kinds of trials. These have come so that the proven genuineness of your faith, of greater worth than gold, which perishes even though refined by fire, may result in praise, glory, and honor when Jesus Christ is revealed." Sorry, I'm so tired, guys. I'm trying to get this video out as soon as possible, and the Lord told me the 22nd, and it's just hard for me to get through this. Thank you for bearing with me. But this is all I have to share with you for today. In my upcoming videos, what I'll do is I'll share all the testimonies that the Lord revealed to me on 11/11, which was January 11th and Tevet 11th. And those were my supernatural encounters from last year and my dreams. And there's a couple dreams that I have not shared on any channel, like Uplifted or Cloud9, that I'll be sharing with you here. And I didn't share it on my channel either. There's a few that I did, but there's one that I did not. So I'll be sharing those with you because he revealed them to me, and they all match up to this date. So we're going to find out, and we're going to keep going, keep pressing forward, keep watching, keep waiting, keep expecting the Lord. And like I said, in this video series, I'll have about 10 videos roughly on this date and this timeline. So bear with me. I'm going to get these out as quickly as I can. And I love you all. Take care. God bless. I'll see you in the